Hello and welcome again for round number 12. We're now in another classic, Monza, Italy. And after retiring myself out of the race, out of sheer desperation in a car that didn't work, I'm poised to get onto the podium again. And we're here to queue number 3. Quite easily made it in here. Used other game modes to practice this track, including testing on high full fuel with the normal Grand Prix. Here we go. This is my second time out. I did 2 runs here in this qualifying session, and this is my second of 2 runs. And I actually, compared to the previous lap, I nailed the first sector 3/10 quicker than my previous lap, and having a purple sector time. DRS down the back straight. One of 2 DRS zones on this track. Working hard for the Ascari. 5/10 up on my own time. Another purple sector. Bit of gravel on the right side. Not too much, doesn't really slow me down. And out on my way to Parabolica. Very, very tricky corner. Down the 3rd just for safety's sake. Into 4th as quickly as possible. I'm going to use the rest of my cursor. Another slightly touch with the grass on the left side. Can throw your car around, but it doesn't in my case. And I get pole position! 4/10 quicker to Sebastian Vettel. Then it's 3rd for Fernando Alonso, 4th Nico Rosberg, 5th for Lewis Hamilton, and then Mark Webber in 6th, Felipe Massa 7th, Kimi 8th, and Nico Hülkenberg in 9th, and Jenson Button for McLaren in 10th place, 1.3 seconds down on pace. So, as I said, I did practice with full fuel, but to be honest, I had a lot of issues with the career car, so much that it was undrivable. So you're going to see me make 2 tweaks to the setup. One is a slight tap of front wing. I think it's already safe. Well, it was 3-1 in qualifying, and I made it 4-1, and I make a slight camber adjustment, flipping 2 values around. So nothing major. Just small things to help me go along. So let's look at the rest of the grid first. It'll be fun when I do this. It's Perez in 11th, the other McLaren. Gutierrez, good job for the other Mexican in the Sauber. Getting some pace there. Then it's Sutil, Di Resta, Maldonado in 15th. Ricciardo 16th. Bottas in 17th. Verne in 18th. Then of course the usual back markers at the back. So there you go. That was the change that I did. It was 3-1 under qualifying. I've set it to 4-1.
Let's get these changes made.
First time I raced. Looking at the strategy, keeping it basically default. Might wing it if time turns out to be bad or not so bad. We'll see what the race brings. Maybe I can do a stop less. Maybe we have to avoid taking a stop more by taking 2 prime runs, for example. I will see how the race pans out, and this is one of the tracks why I'm a notoriously poor starter. So I'm gonna have to brake very hard at turn 1 to limit the damage and maybe get back out in front of these guys. Because once they get on pace, they're gonna be hard to catch up for me, even with these 2 minor changes. On the right side, very hard to defend, sticking to the right side. Everybody's passing me into 3rd now, braking hard. Side of Lewis Hamilton. Vettel is still to the left of me, sneaks past me over the curse. We both have some contact. And on the poor exit, it's Hamilton on my right side, but I get decent enough pace using the rest of my curse. Dive to the right of Sebastian Vettel. Brake a little bit later, and I'm into 1st place. Vettel brakes very late, but it seems like he keeps Hamilton behind him at the exit. I've done what I needed to do, limit the damage, stay ahead at the end of the first couple of corners. And we're on the way on this very, very fast tracks for 53 more laps, or 52 more laps I should say, at the end of this one. I always use as much of the exit tarmac as I can to open up the corner as best as possible. Into thirds, slowly on the throttle, still a bit of sliding at the back, which hurts my acceleration. And there you go, 1:32.427, 2.6 seconds is the gap to Lewis Hamilton, who snuck by Vettel anyway. Rosberg is in 4th place. Now into that first chicane, a bit slowly, go a bit too deep into the second one, into the left hander. But going for high mix, trying to see if I can pull a slight gap at all, if at all possible. But with the car that I have under my arse in the opening stages, it would be difficult. There you go, I brake myself, cut the corner. And I have some issues with braking on that corner a little bit more often in the race, as you will find out soon enough. Which of course hurts my lap and allows the other guys to come closer to me quite rapidly. But I'm doing what I can. Braking hard into thirds. Oop, take a bit too much than I would like to, but the game doesn't seem to punish me for it at all. Pretty much basically like the last game. Decent exit. Go a bit wide, doesn't upset the car. Zim down the straight, 1:27.518, 2.2 seconds is the gap, so it seems to stabilize at least for a little bit. Let's see how we'll fare a little bit later on in the race when we go. I think a lap later on, Vettel seems to be the quickest man on track so far. Of course, he's got the drag or the slipstream out of Lewis Hamilton to pull him longwards. So lap 5, and they caught up quite quickly, as you could tell. That 2.2 second gap didn't last long, and there's the Hamilton in my mirrors. And Vettel sharpens. I actually almost had brake myself there, almost lose the car. And a poor exit as a result. And Lewis Hamilton is all over the back of me. Both cars on high mix. He looks, he looks, he looks. I brake a little bit later again. Cut it nicely. Just on the limit on the inside. I'm still struggling with the turn-in on this car. Causing me to lose quite a bit of time in this sector. I think on the entry I had to slow down, and on the exit as well, to wait until I throttle up. And there you can see Lewis Hamilton creeping up in the mirrors again. Only 1/10 behind me at the end of the DRS straight. Of course, he's quickly done here as well. You can see him slightly creeping up on me. This car's got good acceleration. Go a bit wide again, hurts me a little bit more. Which will of course only be an advantage more for Lewis. He's got this DRS wing open, dives into the slipstream, and now really starts hauling ass closer towards me. But it's too late. Sebastian Vettel still close by, and Rosberg is already 6 seconds back. So you could say it's a three-way scrap for first at the moment. And do this corner again.
You have a 1 second lead over the car behind.
Cut a little bit on the inside, get another warning here. There you go, see, brake, the car just skips a bit, making me go wide, having to hold the throttle before I can floor it. And getting out of those corners, parabolic, that's my 1 and 2, is very important. So, lap 7 now. Again, a poor exit from my end. Lewis Hamilton coming up the right side, no, almost, has to back off. And I just about hold the corner
Full revs. He's trying to close the
to
gap.
fight it over the curbs. Lap 8. Looking for Parabolica. Braking a bit earlier so I can have a best exit as possible, but I screw it up. I'm going wide. There, Lewis Hamilton a bit to the line. He backs out of it. He's scared of that little offline area. And now Vettel takes advantage. Almost taking the position away from me as well. I get good traction off of this corner. Mostly. A little bit further ahead now. The Hamilton found way back into his original position, second. And they get another warning. Has so much trouble getting that car turned in. Or change of direction. And this is in this area of the track where they had the most trouble. Go wide again. Hurt my exit. Of course, he's got DRS, so he's coming up very quickly. Round the outside. And now he brakes earlier than me, but I'm off the line. I can't stop the car. I pretty much can't go anywhere but into Hamilton, pushing him off the track and giving me a penalty.
You've been given a drive-through penalty for
So I decided to outbrake him, and it just didn't work. I couldn't get the car stopped properly. I'm just glad I was able to keep it on track at all. And then I make another mistake into Parabolica, going in too deep. To shift down to second. And decided to take it immediately. Go to lean mix just for the run, save a bit of fuel. Hamilton didn't have suffered too much. He will now go into second place. Perez going into third place, so the Mexican doing very well. And I come out in fourth. So there was a huge gap already to now in fifth place Massa. Which used to be Rosberg, I think, so they're having issues back there, fighting quite hard.
You're currently matching race pace. Good job.
And the Sauber of Hülkenberg is currently in sixth by the looks of it. If I saw him briefly in the mirrors.
Looks like the car behind has a small amount of damage to his front wing. We don't think it's affecting his
Alright,
performance.
so Massa having some wind damage, but shouldn't hurt too much. Probably should only make it a little bit quicker. 6.2 seconds is the ultimate damage as I cut the first corner of the chicane. So give me another warning in this area, and if I'm not being careful, I might end up with another penalty there. And keep struggling on the brakes and entry in that first sector, or just at the start of the second sector, I should say. So Massa coming on fast again, like they're so quick out of last mode too. Bit cheeky for me on the defending. Got to scar as much as I can. I'm slamming over the curbs to make that corner or the line as straight as possible to pull a gap to Massa. Bit easier on the throttle now, but helping the curves to accelerate. Of course, Massa will have DRS on me. I'm looking at tyre wear. It's not too bad. So now the question becomes, like, do I stretch this stint out and try to go for stop less, or like it was a 3-stopper by default? Am I saying it right? Yeah, I think so. And I'm turning into a 2-stopper would save me a significant amount of time and maybe help me get back and actually fight for the win. Or maybe even daring, if it's actually this light, to go for maybe a 1-stopper, if I can, like, to maybe stretch it to lap 20, but that's gonna be a task. So this time I'm pretty certain, like, alright, we can definitely stretch this out longer than originally planned. Go off the original strategy and hoping in that way I might reach the top step of the podium at the end of the race. So now we're at the end of lap 12. As you can see, determined, I keep going. Massa is still behind me, suddenly having picked up the pace quite a lot actually. into third now. Someone pitted. It's probably Perez, or possibly Perez. I'm not sure. Hamilton tends to always stay out a lap longer than the other Rosberg, other Mercedes does. Rosberg there, yeah. So lap 15. Still doing all right. A little bit slidey, but doing okay. We started going off a little bit quicker now. And here we go, lap 16. Front right still looks alright, but it's getting a bit more wheel spin up the corners now, and Hamilton is now flying. So lap 17, front left, and the rears are not looking so hot anymore, having trouble with Parabolica. I decide to squeeze out one more lap.
The tyres are quite heavily worn at this stage. Watch the grip levels. Pit in if you need.
And there you go, my engineer warns like, dude, you probably should pit. Should have pitted. Lewis Hamilton is already on the back of me. Perez is in third place at the moment, so McLaren having a solid drive at this time. Now Lewis Hamilton looking, I suppose he got much better grip traction and everything than me right now. Slide off the exit, leave a gap on the left side, and Hamilton sneaks through. I'm not gonna bother to defend anymore. And this is pretty much the sign that going for one stopper was like, yeah, that was probably a bit too much to do. Let's get into the pits. First, I'm pre-selecting the options. Going for another option than the prime stint. But in the end, pretty much go back on that decision quite quickly. And select the prime tires instead to see how long I can run these and leave a bit of a safety margin open, because if the options start to go a little bit quicker again. Ooh, sliding there through Parabolica. Getting a bit of grass as well, like, yeah, let's get in here. Boom. So, my first pit stop, some 4 or 5 laps later, no, actually more than that. So the original plan was lap 12, and I'm stopping in lap 18, which of course quickly turned into lap 19. Accidentally set it to rich, don't want to do that, don't have to feel for it. And come out in 5th position. Behind Sebastian Vettel, and have Webber, who's quite a ways down. So the field is already very stretched out. This makes the penalty hurt a little bit less. So first I pre-select the option, thinking I will be fine, since I could do like, alright, 16 laps or something, 15 laps, with quite alright with that tire, and I cut the inside a little bit, but no warning this time around. And the gap is down to 3 seconds to Sebastian. Of course, I'm now the one on fresher rubber. I don't know what the tires everybody else is on. So let's move out a little bit. 1 second, lap 20. There's Vettel. So caught him quite rapidly now. He seems to be on the same tires as me. Are the tires? We'll close the gap to 6 seconds, because after the pit stop. Got DRS there on the German driver. Leaves some room, cuts back in. I brake a bit sooner than he. And he sort of outbrakes himself, goes wide and into the gravel. Well, I sneaked inside through a Ascari. So no contact there. I think the Vettel didn't see that coming. Lap 21, then clean lap. Finally, I got some time to get some pace on as I set the fastest lap this time to 1:25.152. Confirmation coming up soon.
Brilliant lap. You're driving as well.
And now I'm trying to chase Massa as quickly as I can. So again, get myself back onto the podium. Lap 22. Of course, excellent grip now, can roll it quite soon now out of Parabolica and onto the home straight. And I set it to a 1:24.796. And the gap to Massa now only 3.2 seconds. Doing alright. There's confirmation. And Vettel is already 11 seconds down, so pulled away massively. Lap 23, still chasing Massa, missed the corner, get a warning. It's like my 4th or 5th one here. Lap later, 24, lap 24, coming up to the corner again. Brake quite late again, and again, I can't stop the car. Have to cut the corner again, and this time the game says, you made too many mistakes here, cut the corner too many times. You get yourself a penalty. So lap 25, have not taken the penalty yet. As you can see, the white lights blinking massively cut a lot of Ascari. Not been able to catch Massa as of yet, but slowly the gap has been coming down to 2.3 seconds, I think it was. I just kind of missed the message there on the split times. Vettel 16 seconds down. Missed the exit up a little bit, flying in the right way since I messed up the exit. Let's just go in as Massa pits. So I will overtake him for sure. And there we see McLaren, I think, coming out of the pit lane, which is Perez ahead of him. He was running in 2nd place now, so he's coming up for quite a result. Messy first couple of corners always. Backhand steps out as I run over the curbs too much. Let's see if I can get myself back into 2nd place, and then we can see what the damage eventually is to Lewis Hamilton. Because the Perez is in 2nd, he might already be a long way off. Lap 27, 2.5 seconds is the gap to the McLaren. And there is someone in front of him, and it looked silver, so that might have been a Mercedes. It's a bit hard to tell. Coming along nicely here.
Our data's showing that the car ahead's likely to be running
2.3.
in fuel conservation mode. His times will be slightly. The pit window is open. Come in this lap.
Alright, so the engineer wants me to pit. The gap is down to 1.4 seconds. I don't know, still not sure how far Hamilton is behind him. That's the Caterham. And the Caterham is blocking Perez. Probably wanted to go to the left to pass him. The Caterham went left and then he went right, and I actually had to dive onto the grass and the marbles to avoid contact. But it has brought the gap down. Now only 2 tenths behind him. And a shot and overtaking him would be nice. To be careful, of course. In the dirty air. I don't want to have another off moment because getting or hitting the grass loses a lot of time because the gravel also is very, very close by. Engineer keeps bitching about it. There's a bit of grip there, so I lost a bit of time through Ascari, but now I'm in the draft. Better tyres, and I'm catching right up to him. And he sort of steers into me, came from a bit far, I have to admit. The door's still going. I should have DRS on him. I'm already past him on the exit. And I do get DRS, which allows me to pull away from him immediately, since he can't follow the top speed, not even in the DRS. So that shows that Lewis Hamilton is 4.6 seconds ahead, which is, if I am indeed quicker than him, a closable gap. Which might mean I'm still in it, even with that penalty. Because yeah, I'll also be doing 1 stop less, and I go wide. Go over the runoff area, which massively reduces the grip. And Perez slips past me again. So it's even further back, 14 seconds. We're currently running in 4th. still get the DRS, which helps me close the gap on this straight and help me hopefully line up a pass at the end of the main straight.
In this lap.
There he goes. I'm gonna make it over here again. Upset gets upset a little bit because of the dirty air on the exit, but better acceleration. DRS open. And breeze right past the McLaren. We're buzzing through the rev limiter at 340 kph.
Be aware, we think the car
There's
behind is
Bottas.
trying to save fuel.
You can see how much we've lost. Well, Hamilton probably like a good couple of seconds. Lap 31. 5.5 seconds is the gap, so I've been working hard to close it again.
Okay,
Decided
price for your next
currently switch to prime tires again, just to make sure. 'Cause I was, choosing and doubting how far I can take these tires.
Someone in the Mercedes garage. Looks like Hamilton will be stopping within the next few laps.
Alright, so Hamilton, the pit stop soon. Lap 33. 4.9 seconds.
Ahead, 5 seconds.
So I'm slowly able to decrease the gap here. So we're now on lap 34. And I go wide again. Lack of concentration there in the grass, and that will lose me a lot of time onto the straight in the whole first sector as well. There you go, gap back up to 7.1 seconds. That is not what I needed, but there you have it. Not been the cleanest of races for me, as you can tell. I like the 2 penalties, well-deserved penalties, I'm not going to deny that. And more than a few driver errors along the way. But holding on to second with all that happened is currently more than I could have hoped for. But as the race went on and the car got lighter,
You have a 4-second
it was
lead
getting
over the
better
car
and better,
behind,
and I could
4
attack the
seconds.
track a heck of a lot more, and was slowly indeed getting easily the fastest man on track, as Alonso currently sets the fastest lap. 1:24.742. So only slightly faster than my current best. As you can see, it's still 1:24.796 there.
Tyres for your next stop.
Lap 37. Gutierrez goes out of the way in the
6
worst
seconds to
possible
the next car,
location.
6 seconds.
Managed to reduce the gap about a second and a half. There's slightly up again because of a Gutierrez. And I go too much curb in Ascari, slam it into the wall.
You've lost your
Bit
front
frustrated,
wing. If you can
almost
nurse
ready to
the
give
car
up.
back to the pits, we'll fit
But
a
I
replacement.
quickly put myself back behind the throttle.
Your front right tyre is showing a drop
Select
in
option
pressure.
tyres,
Looks
thinking
like a
I could do
puncture.
it.
Pit, pit, pit.
But yeah, 16 laps. It's probably a bit too much to
Be aware,
properly
we
do.
think the car behind is trying to save fuel.
Little lean mix finally.
By
Trying
our
to brake very early.
calculations, Massa should be stopping for new tyres within
Thank
the
God
next
the
5
left one is still
laps.
working, and what allows me to
In the
steer.
next 5 laps.
Still quite alright. I'm down to 5th at the moment after that incident. And quickly before I stop, I switched to prime tires in the end, not wanting to take the risk of these options just running out on me and may end up losing me more. This time just conservation was on my mind. I just grab as many points as I can. With the field that spread out, I figured I was going to get some decent points.
Watch out for traffic as you rejoin
Anyway.
the track.
So I rejoin in 7th behind Sebastian Vettel.
You have no more scheduled pit stops, so look after your tyres.
So it's whipping the tears off and just see how far I can make it back up the field. Lap 39, 4.6 seconds is the gap to Vettel. At this point I was figuring out he probably would have to pit. At least I was hoping that a lot of us would have to pit. They would probably follow this default strategy. So far I got some clear air ahead of me. 3.7, sending a purple sector. Second the curbs again, so that previous mishap not really deterring me. The back marker. Bottas goes out of the way. No problems with him. Decent exit out of Parabolica. 1:23.824 is an improvement of the fastest lap, and the gap has been reduced to 2.9 seconds to Sebastian Vettel.
Nice driving.
Information in the screen. Probably going to look for another lap later. There you go. Yep, lap 41, passing a Force India and further improving the time to 1:23.782. And now into fourth, as the other people have pitted now. Of course, curious to see how far Rosberg is. If he's still within striking distance. So here we see lap 42. Another improvement. 1:23.597, 2.3 seconds behind the Mercedes of Rosberg. So there he is. You can see him within striking distance. So the podium is not completely lost to me. Everything I can get higher up is just godsend in that sense. More than I could expect. And Rosberg sort of gets held up by a back marker, by a Marussia Bianchi. I can sneak through. And it puts me within DRS range of the Mercedes. Of course, the fast engine, that Mercedes engine. So, lap 44. Three seconds to Perez. It's all very, very doable. Might get one step closer. Second place is within reach. 9 laps to go. How far can I bring myself back up on the field? 2.1 seconds. Gutierrez goes out of the way, currently running in 15th by the look of it, so can't really follow up on his good qualifying. Getting much better exits out of these corners now. And Perez is also in fuel conservation mode. So here we are, end of lap 44, and I'm already very close to him.
Within 1 second of the car ahead. Get ready to use DRS.
Get DRS on him. Buzzing into the limiter, 3:45, 44. Get him at the end of the straight. Let's go slightly wide on entry. Managed to make the chicane. And I get a better acceleration in the end than Perez. And they can't pass me again. And the gap to Lewis Hamilton is 20.3 seconds. So that's a very long distance away. I sort of really mess up the entry there. On that 46. Perez sneaks by me again. So any chance of catching Hamilton is definitely out the window now. Then again, there wouldn't have been enough time for me to do so, as I know quite well. Got a lot of speed on the man. Perez passed him before Ascari. Backs out of it majorly though. So he loses a lot of pace on exit, which probably puts maybe Rosberg right on his tail. I checked, like, where the hell did he go? Lap 47 now. The damage is back up 21 seconds, so pretty much condemned to second place. Just want to stay without mistakes. Maybe Hamilton screws it up somewhere with the AI car. So here's Max Chilton. And again 19th. Gets out of the way before Lesmo 1.
The gap between you and the car behind
There's
is
a
currently
Caterham.
7 seconds.
Credo, position number 18. Actually get a bit of DRS off the man, so thank you for that. Yep, end of lap 49 on the straight. You can see a car in the distance. 17 seconds, managed to reduce the gap by quite a bit. 3 laps to go, but of course it's still too far away to ever catch him before the end of the race. God, he made a little mistake there, immediately cut me like up like 5 seconds or something like that. Vern, 14th, gets out the way. So lap 50. Lap 51, there's another Toro Rosso ahead of us. And of course has to be Ricciardo. And there's a Caterham, our sharp peak, lonely in 21st. 10 seconds to Rosberg, so Rosberg's really dropped the pace. Almost go a bit too far to the left too soon, almost hit the Caterham there, but thank God nothing happened. So, going into the final lap, 15 seconds pulled away to Rosberg and 14 seconds only to Hamilton, so I am quite a bit faster. But unless he received a penalty somewhere of 20 seconds in these last few laps, which is unlikely. The AI cars don't get penalized that quickly. I don't know if they get penalized at all, but I have no idea actually. "13 seconds all in all. Considering the disaster in Belgium with my poor performing car and all the other mistakes I've made in this race, can be very happy as I almost screwed up there at the end of exit of Lesmo 2. With all the mistakes that I've made, and that one including second place is much more than I could have hoped for, maybe more than I deserve. I'm happy with my drive at all. Used the rest of my curse on this strength, so doesn't really matter at this point. Lewis Hamilton just crosses the finish line ahead of me. 16 seconds to capture Rosberg. So late race pace was very good. Still pretty happy there. Second. Doesn't really seem to celebrate because the target was still first, but a decent recovery drive. Could have been a lot more. I had made so many mistakes. So, set the fastest lap by far with a 1:23. I think the only guy in the 1:23s in terms of lap time. But there you go, 13 seconds in the end behind Lewis Hamilton. Nico Rosberg is third, Felipe Massa in fourth, so good result for Felipe. Sebastian fifth, Fernando sixth, so they are a bit further down the other two rivals, which is good for me. Which means I currently have to worry a little bit less about them and more about Lewis. Sergio Perez 7th, Mark Webber 8th. My teammate Kimi gets 2 points in 9th, and Jensen Button gets the final point, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Then we see the rest of them. Everybody from Paul the rest down is a lap down. And of course the backmarker cars, and Guido is the best of the slower teams. And we have 1 DNF in the name of Pastor Maldonado. So here I'm looking at the two incidents. I have 14 minutes in and 34 minutes in a major collision where I hit Lewis Hamilton off the track because I couldn't stop the car in here in the Saskari corner, and of course the repeated problems I had in that chicane at the start of Sector 2. So Hamilton has closed the gap up, to 26 points. So I'm still 1 race win ahead. So it could have been a lot worse. There was Sebastian Vettel in 3rd, 53 points down. Fernando Alonso 55 points down. So I gained gained some points in comparison to them. So we're gonna still have a margin, but it's been decreasing, of course, quite heavily now. There you go. See the rest of the point. Nothing much changed on the lower end of the field. They tend to not score points much at all. But there you have it. So next up is a track I actually going to be enjoying going to, which is Singapore Street Circuit Night Race. We're going to have some audio glitches in there for sure, and it's going to be a very long drive. Since that track is quite long, it's been shortened a bit, of course, with the change of the Singapore sling. So we're now more like a normal corner. So there you go. So we've got some celebrations going on. There's Lewis celebrating his victory. Let's see you guys next time. Bye bye.